are that will be looking for information. Is there any quick question for Cedric? I can take one or two very quick questions for Cedric. Otherwise, we can have a conversation after Michelle.
Yeah. Hi. You mentioned that the Kinect could be used like also in office environment. I don't know if Microsoft now has some development there for office.
Did you hear me? You got it? No? Sorry, I hate the trying to get rid of it. So two things. Kinect as a device, yes, exists. There's a Kinect for Windows available for developers. We've seen some adoption of that on point of sale, for instance. If you go in Lego stores, they've got Kinect dressed up devices where you can bring your a little box of Lego, put it in front of the device sensor, and it will create a three-dimensional replica of the toy that you got inside, and that is animated, so the kids can actually see what they are going to build in virtual reality. But beyond the actual device, the technology behind that is becoming more and more ubiquitous. So voice recognition is now integrated in Windows 10. So Cortana lives on your desktop, and you can at any point in time say, "Hey Cortana, can you find it for me?" Blah, 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 blah. The voice recognition is activated by the prompt, "Hey Cortana," triggers the query. You haven't stopped doing whatever you were doing. It starts in the background. The next one also, I was mentioning face recognition. Microsoft in Windows 10 will be launching something called Microsoft Hello, which will be a face recognition and biometric recognition of yourself as a way to authenticate yourself when you log to a PC. All that technology is pervasive. So it was created as a gaming interface, and is now becoming the new way to engage with PC hardware, internet hardware.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Cedric. I'm going to do the next presentation, which is primarily an introduction, really, and it's an opportunity to introduce some of my colleagues who are going to talk about smart tourism in the future. And it's also about trying to define a little bit what smart tourism is. Because if I ask you, everybody will have a different opinion of what smart tourism is. I'd like to play this video so you understand what's happening. We've got very new realities that are emerging in tourism, and we need new strategies. supply side, people are developing new technologies, that they are developing software and hardware that interconnects and creates a whole range of new opportunities. On the other side, you've got the demand side, and the demand side, especially the new kids and the young people, are born with technology. They're using smartphones as an extension to their account, and they're doing all kinds of functions based on technology. I got my mobile phone when I was 30 years old. People now get their mobile phones when they're 8. primarily for safety, security, and then that is starting at a whole range of different activities. So people are already engaged with a range of applications that are available everywhere. And what they're doing is they require destinations and tourism organizations to be able to interact with them on whatever platform they are and operate with them. That creates a whole range of interoperability issues and interconnectivity issues, where you've got all these devices interconnected and led by the three main controls. Here you've got the mobile phone, you've got a PC, and you've got a tablet or a laptop. What's going to happen is what we call customer centricity. Customer right in the middle. You've got a range of hardware that's all interconnected from your car, from your computer, from your camera, all kinds of devices. You've got a range of networks, then you've got a range of applications, and then you've got connectivity anywhere, any device, anytime. What's going that to mean is that all the different devices, they need to be interoperable, and they need to be able to work together in real time and create real-time content and connect with all the other organizations in real time. There are a lot of technologies that are coming out. This is from the Gartner's Hype Cycle of Emerging Technologies maps, and you can see a lot of different things that are coming out, and the key characteristics of all this is the interconnectivity of everything, and the Internet of Things, and how all those things will work together with consumers. So one of the key issues is what is actually smartness, and I've been trying to define smartness in the last few months. Smartness takes advantage of interconnectivity and interoperability of integrated technologies to re-engineer processes and data in order to produce innovative services, products and procedures towards maximizing value for all stakeholders. Yes, that's academics are doing, so they're creating nice definitions. Well, I'm here too. But it's really about interconnectivity and interoperability of systems. It's really about how you manage all these things together. This creates a re-engineering that enables saving products, actions, processes, and services in real time by engaging different stakeholders simultaneously to optimize the collective performance and competitiveness and generate agile solutions and value for all involved in the value system. Smartness is the glue, effectively, of all the systems, interoperable, interconnected, mutually beneficial systems and stakeholders, and provide the infrastructure and the value created for all. So if there's one thing I'd like you to remember when we leave from here, is that smartness is the glue. It's the glue of systems that is used to create value for all. Now, I normally, if I've got a lot of time, I normally ask people, what do you think of smartness? And it's amazing the range of answers I hear. But I think we're going to go to that kind of interconnectivity of systems, interoperability towards creating value and towards enabling people to do things. So smartness is about technology, human capital, social capital, innovation, governance, and Kim will be talking about that in a minute in more detail. I guess I've taken on your slides, Kim, so you may. So I'm not going to talk about that, but it's coming from Smart City, and it's about bringing smart living, smart mobility, smart people, smart economy, smart environment, and smart government. And it's all about creating that interconnectivity and all value. Smartness became really important a lot of people started paying attention to smartness because of big cities. By the 19th century, cities in the world with 20 million people in the 21st century. These are the big cities. And these cities will require a lot of technology, otherwise this is going to happen. If we don't have smartness, the whole thing is blocked. So we need smartness in order to be able to manage big data and to manage big populations and to manage big transactions and big operations. What you have in reality is you've got a range of different applications and different functions like study, live, work, travel. You've got lots of different industries who are doing that. You've got lots of organizations who are providing these functions. And then we've got data and information infrastructure that is supporting these processes. We're spending a lot of time actually defining that, and Kim is working with Bournemouth Tourism and the National Coastal Tourism Academy to work on these things and develop those things in a nice proper framework. But this is exactly what's happening. So what you've got is you've got a lot of functions here on these three, with smart homes, smart family service, smart emerging industry, sharing services and all the rest of it. And you've got a lot of technologies down here that they are supporting us. So here's the Internet of Things, smart treatment, smart grid, smart energy, smart transportation, smart water systems, smart communication, smart generation, technology networks, high-end software, and cloud computing that enables that to happen. So when we're looking into smart cities, it's all about aggregating and gathering data, discovering and analyzing information, and it's all about planning and executing optimal response. One of the key elements here is big data, because there's a lot of data that's being generated, especially when there's so many people are there. 9% of the world data has been created in the last 2 years. There's a lot of data that's created every minute. How many people have taken pictures in here? How many people have tweeted them already? How many people said Buhalis is the best thing since sliced bread? Okay. That was a joke. When you are thinking smartly, it's all about interconnecting a lot of sensors and creating a lot of information. So in the big city, there are a lot of sensors that are creating a lot of information. It can be about weather, it can be about traffic, it can be about speed, it can be about parking spaces, and all those things are sending information up on the cloud. This information is being processed and then comes down as what we call with Kim value rain. So it goes up, it's being processed in the cloud, and then comes down as value rain. From smart cities, we're going to smart tourism. Based on smart cities research and methodologies, smart tourism destinations successfully implement smartness as a destination to enhance tourism value. Smartness is fostered by open innovation, supported by investing in human and social capital, and sustained by participatory governance in order to develop the collective competitiveness of tourism destinations to enhance social, economic, environmental prosperity for all stakeholders and create value for visitors. This is what we're doing in Bournemouth, hopefully. We may not call that, but that's what we're doing. Interoperability and ubiquitous computing assure that everybody is interconnected and processes are integrated towards generating value through dynamic co-creation, sustainable resources, dynamic personalization, and adaptation to context. There is something that we call SOCOMO marketing here, social media context-based mobile marketing. We've written a very nice paper recently with Marie about how do you provide the right kind of service at the right time to the right kind of customers. And this is becoming much more important in the future, because what's going to happen is that in the past, marketing was based on segmentation and was creating some generic products. Increasingly, it's going to bring the right product, the right customer at the right time at this particular moment. And that is a very different way of looking at it. All suppliers and intermediaries, the public sector, as well as consumers and various interested parties are networked, dynamically co-producing value for everybody interconnected in the ecosystem. And this is something that we're developing here. We're trying to understand what is the ecosystem and how the ecosystem of tourism works, and how technology is going to bring all these elements together in order to maximize the value that's being co-created in the marketplace. So this is some of the slides that Kim is probably going to go through, where here on the one side you've got the tourist destination, on the other side you've got the tourist, and here you're creating value. And I'm not going to do that because she's going to cover that. And then some of these things are coming out to personalized experience, where on the one side you have got a tourism company that's creating tourism value through smart mobile technology platforms, and they're coming here and create real-time personalized experience. This is a work that is based on Barbara's PhD, and Barbara is going to be explaining that. That's a reference on one of the recent publications that we've done, so you can see a little bit of the details of it. And again, Barbara, you want to speak about that?
No, you can go.
Yeah? Okay. So it's really about how you use technology to co-create tourism products and services, and how some of the technologies will empower new experiences, and they're going to take the travel experience to a new level, where some other experience will remain conventional. As far as social media is concerned, because a lot of the big data is based on social media, we really need to listen live to what's happening in the marketplace, and we need to understand what is the conversation that is happening on different social media. Collect this information, process and analyze it in real time, and dynamically create solutions that will fix the value and will provide value for consumers in real time. This has never happened before. Increasingly, what we find is that people are not, they're giving their opinions live in real time. What we find is that people do not wait until they go back home until they complain. People do not go on TripAdvisor and write a complaint or a compliment, but they tell you while they're there. This is for the first time. I've been in this business for 25 years. I've never seen anything like that happening. What we see now is on the social media, on either the social media that belong to hotels or tourism organizations, or the social media that the tourists are putting together, they have got a live narration of their experience. This is a live narration. They explain, they take pictures, they say, look at this is a fantastic chocolate fondue. Or they take these pictures and say, look at this glass, it's been there for 3 days, nobody really collected. I've never seen anything like that, and this is now the trend. It's going to go there. People will be narrating live. So as a tourist organization, as a tourist destination, you don't have to wait until people are going back and write a report on TripAdvisor or whatever review they do in Booking and go back and reply to them. That's too late. It becomes such a neural system where we identify what's happening now and we take action now. So it's so dynamic, it's happening right now, it's happening in the context. And smartness would be about how do we do the interoperability of all the systems, and how do we understand the sentiment of the comment, wherever the comment is made, in order to be able to address it here and there. I think that is giving you an overview. Some of the publications that they've come out in the last year that you may like to see what's happening, and this is where you're going to find us. So, any questions? Perhaps we can take questions at the end when all my colleagues have done their presentation, so we can see what we're doing. Janet, Professor Janet Dickinson is my colleague who is looking into the Internet of Things, and she's going to explore with you some of the applications and some of the research that she's doing on how people are using mobile devices and how they're interconnecting everything.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I've just put my pops down. Well, first of all, I'm not a scientist. I'm a social scientist. I've worked on a number of projects which are loosely related to the Internet of Things with some scientists. So you have to see this as very much a social scientist's take on the topic. Also, I have to say that in order to kind of contextualise things, it's not all that tourism related, but where possible, I'm trying to sort of draw links so that you can sort of see the tourism context within things. First of all, how many people have heard about the Internet of Things? Most people. Okay, those of you who've heard of it, how many of you understand it? Excellent. I might need your help. So, first of all, this is an iPettle. Has anyone got an iPettle by any chance? No? Not surprised. This is a thing that is connected to the internet, and it enables you to switch on the kettle from your smartphone. Now, I'm not actually sure quite how many people really want to be able to do this, but you can. The Internet of Things, as I see it, is much more than this. It's not just about remote controlling devices from your smartphone, but really that's something that you can do through the Internet of Things. So this is Innovate UK's Internet of Things definition. There's the key things in there are this idea that you have Internet-enabled devices that can collect information about either themselves or the environment around them. They can communicate that with other objects and potentially sort of generate new knowledge. So really what we see is objects can say something about their state, they can say whether they're on or off. They can potentially collect information about the environment, things going on around them. They can share this information with other objects or potentially with us, with people. And objects can begin to make sense of this information. So they can learn from things around them, they can learn from what other objects are telling them about things around them, things that are going on, and generate new knowledge. So the way I like to see this, or to think about this, is if you imagine objects are gossiping. Okay, as an example here. So there's all sorts of different objects that could be connected to the internet, and they could pick up all sorts of information. Here the examples are objects talking about their use patterns. If we just subvert this slightly, think about what if they were gossiping about you. So I'll put this into the context of these objects in my home, actually picking up information about me. Now, we don't like people gossiping about us, so how does it feel suddenly we've got a whole load of objects gossiping about us? It's actually sort of changed it slightly. So you can see why some people might be quite concerned about the Internet of Things. And to put this into a tourism context, if you imagine an Internet of Things enabled hotel, where you might have the ambient environment controlled by room sensors. Now these room sensors might be able to pick up things like whether there's people in the room. They might know how many people are in the room. These sensors could potentially communicate with various other objects around the hotel. So maybe it's a hotel registration desk, and that registration desk tells them who is in that room or who should be in that room. And suddenly you have a whole lot of information being compiled about people by objects in the background, which could be highly personal. It knows who you are, where you are, maybe who you're with, how long you've been in there, all sorts of things that you may not necessarily want circulating. So there are interesting questions underlying the Internet of Things. So the way I try the thing that sort of interests me, we've been very used to a people-to-people internet. And from my point of view as a social scientist, I've not really been that aware of the Internet of Things so far, but the Internet of Things has been really gathering momentum in other fields. So, for instance, in fields like engineering, where there are now lots of connected devices fulfilling all sorts of functions for us, in terms of things like understanding flood prediction and such like. But where we're now moving to, where I'm quite interested in as a social scientist, is actually these coming together much more. So where people and things are interacting in various ways. And there's all sorts of interesting opportunities there, but also potentially various issues as well. Look at the main application areas. You can't see tourism in there at the moment, but if you just stop and think about some of these application areas for a moment, you can probably see that almost all of these are pretty relevant to the tourism context. So, for instance, something like environmental monitoring, and clearly having real-time weather information could be very critical to organisations in the tourism field, or transportation, and in terms of understanding congestion and routing tourists at appropriate times and ways to avoid that, would be very relevant. But almost everything up there you can see would have some relevance in the tourism field. And there's also agricultural applications are pretty significant as well. And there is an internet of sheep. In fact, there are several internets of sheep, as far as I'm aware, fulfilling various different purposes within the agricultural field. The example here I give, from a tourism point of view, is that the internet of sheep has potential relevance for the hospitality sector, food supply chain, and actually understanding things like food provenance. So there are systems out there where you can find out not just where whether your lamb came from New Zealand or Wales, as is usually typically marked on the pack, but maybe which farm it came from, or which sheep it came from, and also a whole catalogue of other information that can be picked up en route from the production on a farm to your plate. And so various interesting things from the point of view of sustainable food supply and feeding into the hospitality sector. Got some examples now from a project that I've been involved in, which finished about a year ago. This wasn't an Internet of Things project, but some of the things we did sort of were at the fringes of the Internet of Things, and we played around with a few issues in the Internet of Things related area. So what we were trying to do, we were playing with the idea of whether we could facilitate more collaborative travel in a tourism context. Initially focusing on the use of smartphones. One of the things that we did was we tracked people. Very easy to do with smartphone technology. But what we did was many devices or many systems will collect location-based information from people. But one of the things we did was we relayed this back to people in an anonymised format so that people could actually see the movement patterns of people within their social networks. And they could, there's a time slide on the bottom of that screen animation there. People could slide this back and forth across time, and then kind of begin to get a picture of where people have been or where people might go in the future based on the sort of past patterns. And therefore they can understand maybe opportunities for collaborative travel. You'll probably pick up from the diagram there that we base this around looking at campsites and possibilities of collaborative travel at campsites. So people might see opportunities to share, or they might see opportunities such as they need to go to the shop, but actually there's someone already in the nearby town could actually pick up that shopping for. So these are the sorts of things that we were exploring. Now within the project, one thing that emerged from these ideas of trying to collaborate was people's concern about asking for help, and specifically people's feelings about being potentially exploited by other users, but also people's feelings of potential indebtedness if they ask people for help. And so, in a little bit of our later work, one of the things that we began to think about was how we can overcome issues about people asking for help when they want to sort of share resources in some way. And we subverted this, and instead of actually getting people to ask for help, we got objects to ask for help. Now, in the Internet of Things, objects which are very sort of aware of their surroundings, aware of the way they're going to be used, potentially will have a lot of knowledge that they can pass out, give to people, for instance, about where they need to be. So we took this idea and imagined, in the example here, that this beach ball knew it needed to be somewhere else where it was going to be used. And so instead of someone saying, I need a beach ball, can you get it for me? The beach ball asked for help. And we did this as a series of workshops in different contexts. This is in South Kensington, in London. We got people to imagine they were tourists on a day out. And they got given various tasks by these objects. In the other example, we've got there's a fry sorter that people are moving around. So basically, these objects ask for help and use the legs of people to move them around the place. So there's interesting things in terms of how the Internet of Things can actually anticipate things. It might anticipate people's need for objects, and actually they might take away the need for people to even ask for something, because it's all about. I think that's sort of come through in the talks we've had so far. So, just to wrap up really, I've put together a list of questions which I haven't got answers for. But these are things really that come to my mind through some of the work that I've done, and they're questions that sort of are quite prevalent, some of them in the news really. So, you know, first of all, will it make our lives any better? Well, it's very difficult to answer a question like that. Next one, top-down exploration of transport and revolution. I just went through my wallet, pulled out a whole load of cards, which at various points in their usage collate a lot of information about me. And one example, you know, which you're probably pretty familiar with, is Tesco's club card, store club cards. And these are an example of what I'd call pseudo-sharing, where they actually pull out lots of information about me in return for relatively little. And so there's an interesting issue about whether the Internet of Things will lead to more potential exploitation by large organisations who have the technology, can deal with things like big data, or whether actually there's an opportunity, as I said there, for a more bottom-up revolution. Now, interestingly, in the tourism sector, you've got a lot of SMEs. These organisations can be quite agile, might be able to respond much more quickly to things that are emerging from the Internet of Things. And there may be a large organisation where it's very competent to implement change. So there could be an opportunity there. There's all the trust, privacy, safety, security issues which regularly pop up in the news. And you know, we have trust issues in terms of do we trust other people on the internet and what they're saying. And now we have trust in what something might be telling us. And there's also trust in whole systems and the way systems may be compiling data. Inequity issues in the digital divide. Now, interestingly, the Internet of Things could make that worse, but also the Internet of Things may be able to bridge some of these issues, because actually, potentially, people might benefit from the Internet of Things without actually having to interact with it themselves. So there could be an opportunity there. There's various things to do with standards, interoperability, and making sure that as more devices become connected to the Internet, that they can interact properly. And the skills issue, so thinking about it in the tourism industry, that's an area where we really need to be kind of thinking about this now. And things like the eTourism Lab, this is an area where we're actually beginning to build on these skills and develop skills to go out to the tourism field in the future. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Are there any questions for Janet? Any questions on the Internet of Things?
Yeah,
Would you like to say who you are, where you're coming from, and what perfume you wear?
Yeah, I'm Adam from Fusion Wi-Fi, and my aftershave is Blue the Bear. The campsite map, the heat map we did, was that people you knew, or was that randoms that you gave it out to?
That was people who were recruited as part of the study. They didn't know they were being tracked.
Sure.
Yeah,
I was intrigued by it because obviously there's a million apps out there, and I know in order to track people like this, you need your app on their device, and it's that's the gap at the moment, I think, that needs to be filled in order to make these things really happen.
I think Antonio will be talking about how Telefonica is following people on the mobiles.
I'll talk a bit about that as well.
Yeah. It will be very, very interesting. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, John. Okay, our next speaker is